Just wanted to thank you all for coming, all the external guests. Can you raise your hand how many people from not eBay advertising? Okay. I hear the traffic has been really bad from 101 south, so it's a little bit of a difficult to come up here. Anyway, uh, several people responded, but anyway, we'll just get started. I wanted to start with just a brief introduction of eBay advertising, 5 minutes. I'll tell you who we are and what we're doing tonight. And then I'll hand it off to Prakash and Srini for the talk, the main event today. So eBay advertising, we are obviously part of eBay. We are focused on building advertising technology. And we have a lot of data. We use that data to power advertising both on eBay and off eBay on hundreds of millions of sites. As you can imagine, we've got a lot of powerful data, and there's a lot of scope for doing very cool science and optimization work here, and that's what we're all excited about. We do advertising in all kinds of formats, from simple branding type advertising up at the conversion funnel to performance advertising down at the bottom of the funnel, mid funnel. We do advertising in different kind of media, different formats. We do product listings ads for performance, and we do even mobile recently. So we are building a lot of new technology, especially in the display advertising area, and we just wanted to start off this series with telling you a little bit about that, and then how we are utilizing Aerospike technology underneath. Just a little bit about this location. You might be wondering, eBay is located in South Bay, San Jose, and we are here in Brisbane. So this is really old acquisition shopping.com, as you might know. So eBay advertising is primarily located here in Brisbane office. And this floor, and we're now expanding on the third floor down there. As for me, I run the technology organization here, joined about a year ago. And I've built advertising technology a couple of times before, so usually it's not very interesting to build something, same thing for the third time. But when I really started to consider it's eBay and how much data we have access to here, that really sparked that interest in me, and I absolutely leaped on it, jumped on it, and joined. Just to give you a little bit of a flavor for what kind of data we have access to. eBay last year, I believe, it did something like $175 billion worth of commerce on the web. That's huge. We are one of the two largest companies in the commerce business and have this kind of a purchase intent data. Another angle to look at it from data perspective, we have about 1.5, 1.8 billion searches every month. That makes us really third or fourth largest search engine in the world, behind Google and Microsoft. So consider that. But we are different. You go to Google, you do different kind of searches, but when you come to eBay, you really want to buy something. So the quality of data we got access to is really impressive. So that really sparked my interest, and I decided to really come here and join. And I hope you will really like what we are building here, and Prakash will talk more about it. But in terms of logistics, I just wanted to let you know, this is the first in the series of talks. We just decided to start conversation and engage with the folks in the industry. We believe through this dialogue we can build better products and better technology. We will be doing more of this in future, but this is our first one, so we have a little bit of a learning curve here in organizing these kind of events. I don't want to take too much of time, so I'll just get started. But before I get started, I just wanted to let you know, if you have not dropped your card and did the registration, please do that. And if you don't have a business card, you might want to write your name and all the details. There it is. Because we do have some cool giveaways at the end, including an iPad mini. So you might want to just do that. We have Gautam Thakur. I just wanted to ask him if you wanted to say anything before we launched into the.
No, I won't take up much time. I think you guys are here for some technical conversation, maybe a little bit of food and drink. But so let's just get started. I'm excited to see the first tech talk that we're doing get going. And certainly, as Satish said, the advertising space is relatively new for eBay. But I think when we spoke 15 months ago, Satish was, I'll say this anyway, about to go and start his own company. So it's not often that people who are about to go start their own company come and work in a company like eBay. But I think the potential that he saw around the data and what we can build is certainly the same thing we feel excited about. So we won't talk too much about eBay today, but that's what we are here for. I want to get the best brains in the ad tech space together as much as we can and spark conversation on how we can all grow this industry. So thank you again for coming, and look forward to questions, answers, and engaging conversation.
Right. So Prakash will first talk about what we're doing at eBay Advertising, and then Srini, who is the co-founder of Aerospike. And Aerospike, by the way, has been a great partner, and they have really helped us with this, organizing this event. So thank you very much, Monica. There, yes. So thank you very much for that. But we'll talk about Aerospike technology that we are using underneath our main core system data management platform. So, and maybe we can hold off on the question to the very end because we are starting the event a little bit late. So let's get started. Prakash.
Thank you, Satish. Hi, everyone. So my name is Prakash. I head the engineering for the display advertising group here. I want this to be a little bit of a conversation. So I'll take maybe like 30 seconds to take one or two questions from you guys to start with. What did you guys come here to hear today? And hopefully one of us will cover most of those things. But if not, then at least I want to start with that. Just one or two questions from people. What do you guys want to hear today? Or something that you want to get out of the talk before the end of the day today? Come on, anyone?
So some new technology challenge in terms of speed,
Absolutely. So I will cover that since Aerospike was a new technology for us and what our learnings were, and then I'll talk about that as well. So let's get started. Satish already covered most of what I wanted to talk about in the introduction, who we are and what we do. At the core of our technology platform here is an eBay audience platform, and that powers a various set of customers that we have, one of being an advertising on eBay. When we are using, and I'll talk in more detail about eBay audience platform, what we do there, but all of advertising on eBay is powered by our eBay audience platform, which is like when people want to show ads on eBay. And just to give you a sense of scale of how many ads we show on eBay, it's about 500 million ads per day. And that should tell you how big, just as a publisher, how big we are. And advertising off eBay, the same data that we use to power advertising on eBay, we're utilizing it to power advertising off eBay. And they're working with partners, publishers, buying it off the exchanges, or working with our advertising partners to actually power their advertisement and building audiences for them. And all of this also use eBay as an advertiser. When people come to eBay, they're looking for a certain item, they go back, they don't really make the purchase at the time, we can say, yes, let's bring those people back to eBay as an advertiser and show them the similar ads. Just to give a sense of, why we think we can be successful, you already heard Satish and Gautam talk about it. We have two advantages that we think we can make the difference here. One is by data, and second is by building the right technology. Okay? Give you a sense of the data. eBay, across all of the properties, eBay marketplaces, PayPal, StubHub, GSI Commerce, if I go back all the way where these sites have started, we have approximately 2 petabytes of data. And that's huge because we can not only say about what people are buying today, we can go back in history and look at what these people have been buying year after year for the products that they are buying yearly. And for the products which have a longer life cycle, we can look back and say, these are the people who bought phone 2 years ago in this month. Because people almost buy phones 2 years in a cycle. For automotive, this may be a longer cycle. Yeah, there are very, very few companies who can actually say that we can predict cycles of when people are going to look for the next car. And we are one of those companies that we can do that. I don't think there's anybody else who can talk about outside some of these things. So automotive, these are working on a cycles. For a yearly cycle, you can think of people who are buying jewelry in a certain month. I mean, we have 100 million users on eBay. And when I say 100 million active users on eBay, we are defining it not as somebody who just came and visited eBay. We're talking about people who have done engageable events on eBay more than a certain number of times a month. And that is 100 million just in the US alone. So if you look at it, they're just buying something for their families or birthdays or things happening. Then, yes, give or take, there are 10 million people who are buying birthday gifts on eBay every month. But which are those 10 million people? We can predict that. We can stay ahead of the market before they start actually surfing online, say, I'm looking for a gift for my wife. We can actually predict in a lot of these cases. Looking at the data point of view, I mean, we have like not only just eBay, but first and third-party data that we collect. When we work with advertisers, we are placing a pixel on their site. And that is helping us learn about their customers, what their customers are doing on their sites. And that data itself is huge because you work with hundreds of advertisers, you're getting all of that signal, and you have to come and make sense out of these things. Looking at number of events per day on eBay itself, that's more than 200 billion per day. And this is not even including some of the sister properties that we have. So from the data point of view, I want to get a sense out of how big are we talking about. And when we are talking in buying on exchanges, there are 30 billion plus ad requests per day happening. And we want to serve all of those things. We want to at least, when those requests comes, within milliseconds, we want to identify that person, understand what they would have done in last 10 years. Of course, give and take, how we do that. And that's the technology piece I talk about. And then we say, yes, what is the best ad to show to them at this time? To build a system at that scale and to be able to serve or listen to about 30 billion, that's huge, right? That amounts to something like 300,000 per second, or a number more than that. So let's jump deeper into the technology. And this is the class diagram for the technology. Okay, this is exact. I'm just kidding. So I wanted to show conceptually what we are doing first, right? We are aggregating all of the user behavior, what people are doing on eBay, off eBay, and when we bring all of the data back, somebody has a cookie, we find out that yes, this person is surfing on Firefox. Now they went onto their mobile phone and they started looking for another product. And then they went to their iPad and then they bought the thing. In order to be able to claim that conversion, we want to say yes, we can identify the people from 1 to 2nd to 3rd. And then we get a complete picture. And for that, we have developed a technology we call ID mapping. And I dig deeper into this in the next slide. Not only we just want to understand what people are surfing at different places or different devices, we want to understand what ads we show to them when, and what leads to the best conversion. Is showing an ad which is a big display ad in the morning and then showing a conversion kind of ad in the evening helps, or it's the other way around? When do people make purchases? Or after how many ads do they make purchases? Okay? And maybe that's different for different type of people. But once you are, in order for to do any of these analysis, it's important that we recognize uniquely that this is the person. And we are showing ads on them on mobile, off mobile, and when they are clicking on mobile, lots of people don't click on mobile. They won't make a purchase on mobile, but that has an influence on their buying decision. And that's the important part. You're driving home, you will see an ad, you're not going to buy it there, but maybe it's in the back of your head. And that's what we want to be able to connect and predict. And that's where some of these technologies comes in. So we bring all of this data, using our ID mapping, now we have a unified view of a user. Every time we listen to an ad request, using that unified view of a user, we are able to segment them. Is this person going to buy a camera in the next 30 days or not? And depends on what kind of campaign we are running. And that information gets assigned and then we bid in the exchanges. Again, the scale is what you're talking about. We're able to do it 30 billion times a day and do it at scale, do it at speed, the high speed that we're talking about. Once we show ads, we bring the data back in, analyze the data, present reports, and of course gain insights out of this. What did we do yesterday that worked? What did we do yesterday that did not work? And algorithms go around and say, here are the features of people who are converting. These type of people or people who have certain features convert on weekends versus weekdays. These are the insights that we are able to draw on a regular manner. Digging a little deeper into the user identification because this is one of the technologies that we're very proud of and we utilize Aerospike for it. Conceptually, what we're trying to do is, and I already talked about, right? We have user who is going on mobile or different devices, and that information comes in, and we have a unified view of a user. This service allows us to map them back and forth. And we are talking about 100 million active users who have approximately about 2 billion cookies, even in the last 6-8 months that we have been collecting data, because people actually remove cookies a lot. They are on multiple browsers, they are on multiple devices. But as eBay, we are able to map them back because they have logged in from each of these devices at least once. When you're talking about rest of the advertising companies, they're selling cookies. And they have no idea whether the person on the Firefox is the same as Chrome, even on the same computer. Forget different computers, forget different devices. We are not only able to tie it on the same computer, but different devices. So that is one thing that we feel very proud of because eBay is in a unique position to solve that problem. And people who are from ad tech, understand that that is the huge problem outside. You may buy 500 million cookies, but you really don't know if there are 10 million people under those or who are those people and how many of those cookies are extinct. As eBay, since we are able to connect through an eBay login, and not just eBay login, eBay has a graph of identity when we talk about PayPal users, StubHub users, we can bring all of that information and connect to people. So this service we have built, which essentially goes back and forth between these two IDs. Every time we want to listen to an ad request, we want to understand who that user is, and then make decisions. That's actually when we were starting to think about it. We looked at it as two indexes. Like we get a cookie or the device that the person is actually on at this point, and then we want to get back the information, what is our unified ID for that person. And once we have segmented the person in a manner that this is the right person for this ad, and I want to buy media, then you want to do the reverse mapping essentially. That we want to understand who is the unified ID in our system, and then find, let us say I'm working with a DSP partner or an exchange, what is this person's ID on this exchange? And the key piece being because we don't want to give our IDs away. We don't want to leak data in that sense. There's one thing about data everybody says, right? If you sell the data, you can only sell it once. But if you use the data, you can continue to sell the data again and again and again. And that is something that we want to do as eBay advertising, right? Utilize the power of eBay data and continue to sell it. So we don't want to give our IDs away. We want to say, yes, this is how you understand this person, we are going to give you those IDs. So back and forth mapping. And we are actually using Aerospike for this, it has been good. What happens here is that I'll give you a scenario. We should talk a little bit about reconciliation and where these things come in. That a user comes to eBay, they have not logged in. So possibly they came for the first time, we dropped a cookie, and we identified them. On the same computer, maybe the same device, a few days later they logged in. Now we are able to tie back that this person is the same person who came to us 3 days ago, and they search for it. And at that point, we have these two profiles that need to be merged. And that is where the reconciliation happens between these devices. We bring all of the events together. And sometimes there may be two different cookies that we are merging because now we know the same login. You can extend this into so many other IDs as well. Like they may be two eBay users, but from the PayPal point of view, they are the same person because they share a credit card. So the power of this thing is huge because you're not just talking, yes, for months you may continue to believe they are two unique individuals, but at some point we can tie them. And that is where we want to say, yes, now let's bring them together and see what does this help us learn about their profile. So this is where Aerospike enters. The two problems that Aerospike helps us solve is speed and scale. Right? We were looking for a technology, and we actually did prototypes with a lot of similar technologies that have in this space, including Redis, RIAC. And what we were looking for is a low latency in the sense that you want to have sub-millisecond lookup. When we're talking about 30 billion of this day, then we are saying, yes, we may have to do this very quickly, and you have 50 milliseconds to respond to an ad, but in order to look up ID, you don't have that much time. And you want to build a profile, update your system, segment them, and have your algorithms give a chance what is the right amount of money I want to spend at this time. So there's a lot more going on than just identification. So identification needs to happen in the sub-millisecond time frame. And the second, of course, is 30 billion ad requests translates to something like 400 QPS. And that's the average number. During the peak time, this may be double than that. And that's when we benchmark a lot of these technologies. We came up, yes, Aerospike is actually expert here. Scalability, and this is the people who have worked in ad technologies. There are a lot of technologies who can do clusters, but how many of them actually scale horizontally? In order to get to 2x, how much more servers do I have to add? Am I scaling horizontally or is it an exponential curve? And we have made some of the similar mistakes in past in the technology that we have worked on. I have done that. And at a certain point, you feel like, oh, this is great. It's horizontally scaling. And it comes a point where you say it doesn't work anymore. And so far, we have been actually very good with this thing. And talking about operations is, I mean, automatic failover. Like, yes, systems will go down. When you're talking about these big numbers, you want something that actually fails over very automatically. And if you want to add new servers, you don't want to bring down everything. I mean, as eBay, if we bring down everything before we have to upgrade our thing, and that's just not good enough for us. And the one and most important thing that we have done with so many other technologies we prototype is replication across data centers. Okay. When you are serving ads with those tight SLAs that we have, you have servers across different time zones. And the same person comes from two different things. You want to understand that I have shown ad to this person or not. We work with some advertisers who have very tight frequency cap. So the publisher may be working with us, and they may route the request through any other network. So one request may go to East Coast, one request may go to West Coast. So when you really are working under tight frequency capping, you want to make sure that you have not shown an ad to this person before. And therefore, you want to have this replication across data centers in real time. And so far, Aerospike actually, I want to say yes, they have been actually amazing for us, right? You can talk about strength. We have measured this over and over again. 90 percentiles comes within like less than 2 milliseconds. Scales linearly. Rebalancing happens automatically. Doesn't require as much of a hand-holding or sharding. I mean, it has you can add new nodes and it will automatically balance. You can upgrade versions. And of course, there are a couple of things about room to grow. We keep talking about them in turn, and we have talked with the Aerospike team as well. When we are talking about real-time user profiles, these profiles get big, and you're holding them in memory. Right? And there are some limitations on how much you can hold for per record. And I think you guys Aerospike is coming up with technology that actually makes this better. Data browsing, when you're talking about the amount of data we have, it's very difficult for our engineers to sometimes figure out, just by looking at it, hey, where's my data? The third thing I want to talk about is cookies expire a lot. So we typically try to do something like, yeah, let's just put a TTN on it. But as I showed you before, right, we have these two maps. And therefore, if it gets read in one place, you want to automatically have it cascade to other places. Okay? But more importantly than anything else, all of these trends, one thing that we have always been impressed with Aerospike is the knowledge that the team has on everything that we talk about. Right? And I hear this from my team every day. Like, yeah, these people know what they're talking about, and they're very helpful, and that's the kind of company that we want to work with. So with that, thank you very much. I introduce Srini. I think we'll talk more deeper about these things, and we'll go to questions later on.